Hello everybody, my name is Francesca Forle and I am a postdoctoral researcher at San Raffaele University in Milan. The title of my talk today is Rythmòs in joint actions between rhythmic coordination and emotional attunement. Well, just to give you an overview of my talk, the debate I will consider today is the one about joint actions and in particular the issue of cooperation between co-agents and the issue of mutual predictability in joint actions, and specifically the possibility of reducing those uncertainty conditions that can often undermine the success of joint actions themselves, as for example Michael and Pachery in their paper of 2015 say. Well, so my aim is that of proposing a possible tool for reducing uncertainty in joint actions, and namely I will propose the idea that coordination in Rythmòs, that is, the expressive rhythmic style of an unfolding action, could be a possible tool for reducing uncertainty in joint actions. And I will present Rythmòs alignment as a dimension that stands between a rhythmic coordination and emotional attunement, while being not reducible to any of them. For my purposes, joint actions will be just defined as any form of social interaction whereby two or more individuals coordinate their actions in space and time to bring about a change in the environment. And this is a quotation from Seban et al. 2006. Well, of course, many different models of joint agency have been proposed, but for the purposes of my talk today, this very general notion of joint actions can be enough. Well, one crucial feature of joint actions that has been considered in the literature is that joint actions' success depends on the efficient coordination between the participants' agents, and in particular an efficient coordination of participant agents' goals, intentions, plans, and actions themselves. So the idea is that in order to coordinate for a joint action to be successful, agents must monitor their partner's intentions and actions. They need to predict their expected consequences and use these predictions to adjust what they are doing to what their partners are doing. And so mutual predictability seems to be actually crucial for successful cooperative behaviors and joint actions. However, various forms of uncertainty can also undermine mutual predictability, hence coordination and the success of a joint action. For example, Michael and Pachery consider three kinds of uncertainty in joint actions. For example, motivational uncertainty, which is a kind of uncertainty about how stable and convergent with our own interests our partner's interests are. Or also instrumental uncertainty, which has to do with uncertainty about what we should do as co-agents to achieve a particular shared goal. And also common ground uncertainty, which has to do with uncertainty about how much all that is required to act for a shared goal is a common ground between the co-agents, that is manifest and known by all engaged agents. So there are different forms of uncertainty that have been considered in the literature about mutual predictability and then the success of a joint action. Of course, this threefold categorization that Michael and Pachery present does not aim at being exhaustive of all kinds of uncertainty that can characterize joint actions, but these are just some examples of possible uncertainties, forms of uncertainty. And of course, this categorization does not imply the idea that all joint actions are characterized by uncertainty to the same extent. Indeed, some joint actions can be characterized by a greater level of uncertainty with respect to others. For instance, if they are, not regulated by any agreement of the co-agents about rules of behavior and mutual commitments. Moreover, talking about uncertainty conditions of joint actions does not imply the idea that absolute certainty can be achieved or has to be achieved in order to engage in joint actions. Indeed, it is likely that uncertainty cannot be fully eliminated. However, the idea is that we can try to reduce some uncertainty factors in order to make a joint action smoother, better coordinated, and stable in time. So the idea of this kind of debate is that of considering and trying to highlight uncertainty reduction tools and not uncertainty elimination tools. Now, what is my hypothesis in this kind of debate? So my question is, what are possible uncertainty reduction tools for joint actions? My hypothesis is that what I call Rythmòs alignment can be one of them. That is, it can be one of these uncertainty reduction tools. In what follows, I will present Rythmòs as the expressive rhythmic style of the temporal unfolding of an event, as, for example, Andrea Zoc defines it. And I will try to show that among different alignment factors, Rythmòs alignment can be said to stay in between rhythmic coordination on one end and emotional attunement on the other, sharing some features with both and constituting a dimension in which some aspects of the two can merge into each other. And the idea is that both rhythmic coordination and emotional attunement can be argued to be capable of fostering alignment and cooperation and to be uncertainty reduction tools. Rythmòs alignment can be another uncertainty reduction tools, which is in between rhythmic coordination and emotional attunement, but cannot be reducible to one of them. Now, one of the uncertainty reduction tools that we have mentioned is rhythmic coordination. Rhythmic coordination is considered in the literature as the process of synchronizing the rhythmic behavior of two or more individuals. And phenomena of rhythmic coordination are common events in everyday life, as also many different studies have underlined. Now, it has also been posited by different thinkers that phenomena of rhythmic coordination can act as a key facilitator for joint actions. Indeed, synchronization can make partners in a joint action more similar and thus more easily predictable to each other. Moreover, rhythmic coordination may also lead agents to an increase in cooperative behavior and to a greater sense of belonging to the group. There are many studies, for example, that show that in a coordination game, participants who had walked in step in groups of 3 made more cooperative choices than participants who had not walked in step. And the same participants also who had walked in synchrony also reported feeling more connected to each other. And the same was true for groups of 3 singing in synchrony. So this kind of studies can highlight how synchronization between co-agents can foster a greater sense of belonging and rapport within the group. So if this is true, by fostering a greater sense of belonging to the group and positive feelings among co-agents, rhythmic alignment can also strengthen co-agents' commitment and motivations to achieve a shared goal, as Michael and Pachery also say, proving therefore to be a potential tool for motivational uncertainty reduction. Now, the second uncertainty reduction tool that we have mentioned is emotional attunement. Well, first of all, the role of shared emotions and shared feelings in joint actions has been actually highlighted in the literature. Moreover, Michael and Pachery also argue that affective states such as fellow feelings, positive feelings towards one's co-agents, a sense of belonging to the group, and so on, also serve as useful and effective tools for promoting cooperation and thus reducing uncertainty in joint actions. For instance, in the same line, also Candiotto explores the way in which positive emotions can boost cooperation. She considers, for instance, the case of dialogical inquiry, and she argues that in cases such as this, positive emotions such as love, gratitude, or also joy can help build a favorable environment for the inquiry to take place. So the idea is that positive emotions can enhance confidence and that the sense of togetherness among members of the group can also be enhanced by positive emotions. Such emotions can help to establish trust in each other's testimony, and they can also enhance a sense of responsibility for the collective. So Candiotto's idea is that positive emotions can act as facilitating conditions for joint actions such as a dialogical inquiry. So, in the case of dialogical inquiry described by Candiotto, co-agents' attunement towards positive emotions helps to create a positive climate, which boosts the we-mode cooperation and helps to reinforce co-agents' positive attitude towards each other. Now, in boosting such cooperation and positive attitudes, such emotional attunement seems to contribute to reduce uncertainty in the joint action, at least uncertainty about the dispositions and beliefs of co-agents. Of course, Candiotto has considered the case of positive emotions, but we can also consider emotional attunement in the case of negative emotions. And so we can consider situations in which affective states such as resentment or fear, for instance, characterize the members of a group towards a rival, and then these kind of affective states can lead or reinforce them to pursue aggressive joint actions towards their enemy. Let us think, for instance, of the case of an attack by an ethnical group against another. This joint action can be fostered by common negative emotions of the members of the group. In this negative emotion case, emotional attunement, that is, common resentment of the members of the groups towards others, helps to create an affective environment then that strongly binds the members of the group to one another and can facilitate cooperation against a common enemy. Of course, one may wonder if negative emotions are really able to bind the members of a group in the long period, or if only positive emotions can do so. But this is another issue that I cannot deal with here. Now, my question is there an intermediate dimension between rhythmic coordination and emotional attunement, that is, one in which some of their aspects merge? Then my hypothesis is that this is so that there is such a dimension, and this dimension is the one that I will call Rythmòs alignment. My idea is that Rythmòs alignment highlights how emotional attunement can have a strongly embodied basis, and vice versa, how rhythmic coordination is not just confined to a behavioral physical level, but can already have an expressive emotional connotation. Now, what is my characterization of Rythmòs? My idea is that Rythmòs refers to the organized structure of perceptual reality that allows us to recognize and anticipate a perceptual diachronic course, such as, for example, the bouncing of a ball, a musical rhythm, or a collapsing screen. Rythmòs traits allow following the perceptual course and having motivated expectations about the way such perceptual phenomena will develop. Rythmòs implies regularity, even though in a minimal way. It emerges when there is the possibility of recognizing even a minimal rule of development, which allows the anticipation of a dynamical style. So Rythmòs can be considered as the dynamical style of a perceptual diachronic course. Now, the important point is that in being such a dynamical style, Rythmòs shows also an expressive dimension. Indeed, the idea is that the dynamical style of a perceptual diachronic course is also able to confer phenomena at least an appearance of vitality and expressivity. For instance, we can say that the movements of a dancer are graceful or that the walking style of a person is clumsy, in the same way as we can metaphorically say that the course of a line is elegant or that a musical rhythm is nervous, because these phenomena have particular qualities, and these qualities depend at least partly on the dynamical style, that is, on the Rythmòs of the considered phenomena themselves. So, my proposal is that just as emotional attunement is capable of creating and reinforcing rapport between subjects and a sense of belonging, thereby reducing uncertainty about the actual motivations and commitments of co-agents, so Rythmòs alignment, that is, alignment in the expressive and dynamical features of co-agents' actions, may have a similar role. Let us consider, for instance, the example of negative emotions again. In episodes of aggressiveness of one group of people towards another, aggressive attitudes, gestures, and behavior, that is, Rythmòs traits, towards others can produce or reinforce an aggressive climate in the group, and then they can bind co-agents together and reinforce the sense of belonging. Now, by reinforcing such sense of belonging, Rythmòs traits can act as a motivational uncertainty reduction tool because, as we have already proposed via Michael and Pachery's model, a sense of belonging and group identity are crucial in reducing uncertainty about the actual motivations and commitments of co-agents. Now, such Rythmòs traits can reinforce a sense of belonging, but they can also lead to the emergence of an actual emotional attunement against the opponent. But by themselves, such expressive Rythmòs traits are not already a form of actual emotional attunement, even though they can lead to the emergence of such an attunement. Now, my idea is that Rythmòs alignment is an uncertainty reduction tool for joint actions, for joint actions, but it is neither just rhythm coordination nor yet emotional attunement. Rythmòs alignment is not just rhythm coordination, because as we have seen, Rythmòs traits give expressive qualities to phenomena, and so in some sense they confer expressive content on mere physical behavior. So because of such expressive connotations, Rythmòs occurrences are not simply rhythm occurrences, and Rythmòs alignment is not just rhythmic coordination. However, Rythmòs alignment is not yet emotional attunement, because Rythmòs expressive traits are not already personal feelings or emotions. The latter are complex entities that are arguably not reducible just to the dynamical style of actions. In this sense, Rythmòs alignment is not yet emotional attunement, even though it can lead to emotional attunement. So my thesis is that Rythmòs alignment is an uncertainty reduction tool for joint actions, which defines a dimension that stands between mere rhythmic coordination and actual emotional attunement without being reducible to one of them. So thank you very much for your attention.